Welcome back to the Max Reality. If you've seen my face before, then you know the drill, but if you're new here, my name's Morgan, and I love talking all things reality TV, and today we are continuing our journey of Shark Tank Season 15, and today we're on Episode 15. But before we can talk about the latest episode of Shark Tank, we have to talk about Season 14's Stealth Bros & Co. If you've seen my more recent videos, then you know the drill, but if you're new here, the company was founded by Brax, who is a trans man who was looking for a better way to store his testosterone and medical supplies, so he came up with Stealth Bros & Co. We've talked a little about their different bags, we talked about the Sharp Shuttles, and today I'm going to show you what I use my bag for as somebody who doesn't take shots. So this one is mine. I have the pink one. She is fun, she is ready, she is flirty. We love her. And I use mine as what I like to think of as my mini go bag. Pretty much, I'm the kind of person who has a lot of little things they need in order to be able to leave the house. And so I've put all of them in here. So I always have them ready to go when I want to go. So in the top little pocket, I have things like Tylenol, chapstick, alcohol wipes. I got hand sanitizer, glasses cleaner. I have pens because I always want a pen. Dry mouth mints, pad, hand lotion, anything and everything I could need is all in here. One of the big reasons this has helped me is because this is my purse. I love her, but she's almost 10 years old. I got her for $10 and she doesn't have any pockets really. It's just a black hole in there. And so before, all this stuff would be in here and I would just have to dump it out looking everywhere. But not anymore. The other great thing I love about it is I can move it between all my bags. At one point, I was just buying multiples of everything, but something would run out of a bag and I'd never replace it. If it's all in one area and I see it all the time, that helps my brain be able to be like, okay, I need to replace this versus, oh, I think my pink bag maybe is missing chapstick, something. Having one place for everything, just moving it around makes it so much easier for me. Another thing I plan on using it for is for stadiums. I don't know about y'all, but for example, the minor league baseball team by my house has one of those clear bag rules, but the bag doesn't have to be clear if it's under a certain size, and this meets those requirements. And it'll be so easy just to have all my stuff. There's so much room in it. And then we have the fun little handle. Usually I take the handle off when I'm putting it in my purse, but it'll be great to just have all my stuff. So head on over to stealthbrosandco.com, use my code SBCMAX20 for 20% off your purchase. Thanks again to Stealth Bros & Co. for letting me be one of your ambassadors, and let's get into the newest episode of Shark Tank. Our sharks for the episode are Damon, Kevin, Lori, Mark, and Robert. Our first pitch of the night is Psyonic. Dr. Adil walked into the tank looking for $1 million for 2% equity in his bionic hand, aka the ability hand. Usually, when I'm telling you guys about the product, I have already put together the clip of whenever they were showing the product on Shark Tank, and then I voice record over it. For this one, though, they did not spend a whole lot of time actually showing us the product, and I'm still not 100% sure in what format I'm going to show you all the product. Y'all might be seeing it right now. That's a problem for editing, Morgan. I'm just going to tell y'all a little bit about it. So this is the first bionic hand to be made for both human and robotics use. He says in the robotics space, it's been used in major tech companies and that it's even been to outer space. One of their big selling points is that they're the first bionic hand like this that offers a touch feedback system. I'm not going to lie, I probably spent a little too much time looking at different YouTube videos related to this hand because I just got so interested. I started going down a rabbit hole and I couldn't stop. For example, I saw this one video on, I think it was like a CNN, it was some news site where they had this man who was using the hand who couldn't use his arms at all, so it was like through his brain, and they blindfolded him and had the hand and they were touching it and he could say what finger they were touching. He'd be like middle finger, palm. Science is wild. Science is wild. He also has this as an FDA registered medical device, and he's gotten it covered by Medicare. So this man has a bachelor's degree in biology, a master's in computer science, another master's in electrical computer engineering, and then a PhD in neuroscience. So he knows a little bit about what he's talking about. Also, the entire time, the sharks refer to him as doctor, and I loved it. I was so here for it. I was like, yes, this is Dr. Adil. Respect it. I was so here for it. So he tells us that they cost him $1,800 to make, and they retail for $15,000. Now, I feel like when you just like say that number off the bat, it's like, that's insane for markup. But I thought that when I first heard it, and then I marinated on it for a little while. And I think something we all kind of forget when we watch Shark Tank is when they talk about the cost to make it, they're not talking about like an entire encompassing cost of like running the business of all that. And then especially for something like this, when they're having to spend a lot of money in research, development, all that sort of stuff, I think that's lost in just the simple number of like how much it is to make and how much it is to retail. Also, I couldn't go on their website and just like verify the price. I'm just basing it off what he said in the tank. To get a hand, you have to do registration and process because they need to match you up with the prosthetist to get the socket part. So we're going off what he said for the pricing, and we're just going to leave it at that. Let me know your feelings about that in the comments. We're moving on. So I just realized that I didn't have written down how long they'd been in business. So I went to their website, and it looks like they started the process in 2015. But from what I remember and what I have in my notes about the business, I don't think they were really selling it or an actual business until the past couple of years. I bet that other time was just them actually literally developing this thing because they have awards and grants from 2015. That's what I'm basing this off of. The company's lifetime sales are $2 million. Last year, they did just over $1 million, and they're projecting to do $2 million this year. And do you think they're a profitable company? Yes, they are a profitable company. And if you said no, shame on you. No, I'm just kidding. I also immediately was like, no, there's no way this company's profitable. I mean, just based on it being a tech business at all, just it's safe to bet no. But we're just haters because last year on that a little over 1 million, they did $100,000 in profit. So I was amazed. Shocked even, in fact. Of course, though, they have had to raise some money. They've raised $3.6 million so far in a year. They raised 1.4 at a 12 million valuation, and then they raised 2.2 at 50 million on Start Engine, which is a website where people can go and invest in businesses, and you can be your own shark. I feel like it sounds like a commercial. This is not a commercial. Of course, me being the person I am, I was like, I wonder what Start Engine is, because I didn't know, and I knew that would be a question that anybody else would probably have. And I go to the website, and what immediately pops up? Kevin's face. I died laughing, and at first I was like, okay, so is Kevin actually involved, or has he just licensed his face to this website? Because this man will do anything for a check. Honestly, TBT to when he was on Cameo. Those were the good days. And like I said, it literally just has a bunch of different businesses on it. It's really like a crowdfunding Kickstarter, but specifically for businesses, and you get some equity in the business when you invest. It's a whole deal. I have it in the resource notes if you want to go check it out. And I even have their specific page. They are not fundraising at the moment, but they are thinking about doing one in June, so you can sign up on their little wait list if you want. I'm just saying. Another way they're able to raise money is through grants. They've done $2.4 million in grants so far, and they're planning to get a $2.7 million grant next year from the DoD. Mark just doesn't understand how this man hasn't been able to raise money quicker. He feels like if he just would have gone to the right people with this idea, he would have been able to raise the money he needs to really get this off the ground instead of having to go to places like Start Engine. And Dr. Adil says that he really wanted to do a crowd-funded type campaign like this because most of their sales have generated from social media. Kevin wants to know how many people have one so far. He says they have about 100 patients, and that's one of their biggest issues. They aren't able to meet the demand. At the moment, they're only able to produce about 100 units a year, and that's one of the main reasons they've come on is that they need money to be able to ramp up production to meet the demand. And then Mark starts talking about being like, I just don't understand why all these doctors aren't like just banging down your door trying to get everyone you have. And Dr. Adil's like, I mean, they are. That's part of the problem. They all want it, but I cannot make it. I don't have the ability. That's why I'm here. Obviously, that is not the way Dr. Adil said it. That's the way I would have said it. Robert asks him if he's gone directly to investors who do healthcare or robotics, and he says the main issue he's had with going to them is that they don't like that he's doing both. They want him to either make it a specifically healthcare product or a specifically robotics problem, and they don't like the intermingling.
I just cannot see that at all as somebody who's in the healthcare space.
And Mark just isn't having it. He doesn't feel like anything he's really said has made sense. And then Mark says one of the most billionaire things ever. He's like, if you had come to me, like, personally, and been like, this is what I need $5 million, I can dominate the space, I can do everything, I'd be like, let's negotiate. Because, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, like, $5 million, you know, it's not that much. And then, like, I get what he's saying. It was so funny. It's like, yes, Mark, we know you just, like, are on the show and you can buy all these people. We're aware. Mark, invite me to a Mavs game. I'm not allowed to be too mean to Mark because I would do anything to sit with him at a Mavs game. Focus. We're back. Because everything's just not adding up to Mark, he's out. Robert wants to know more about how the arm and the hand attach, and at this point in the pitch is when all the sharks make the realization that it's just the hand he's selling. You have to go to somebody who actually makes prosthetics to get that part. It's a completely separate deal. He is just selling the hand. I don't know why I feel the need to use my hand so much as a demonstration. Like, I don't... Robert says he really cares about this space, but similarly to Mark, he's skeptical about the numbers and everything about it. And because of that, he goes out. Then it's Kevin's turn to jump in with a classic Kevin line.
My issue with this deal is I don't get out of bed for 2% of anything.
Kevin's main issue with the 2% is that Dr. Adil is going to need to raise a lot more money to get this thing where it needs to be. And that means that over time and pretty quickly, Kevin's 2% shares are going to start to get diluted down. So Kevin offers him the $1 million for 10%.
Are there other offers here too, or?
It is so unnatural for me to say million so many times in this video, especially when I'm talking about offers. It's like throwing off my rhythm. And yes, indeed, there is another offer. Lori and Damon have been talking, and they want to offer him the $1 million for 6%, but they want their shares to be non-dilutable. I hate when that starts to come into play with these offers because then I have to say it and it's such a hard word for me to say. I don't know why. Dr. Adil says he needs to protect his valuation because of the other investors he has. So he counters 2% equity and 2% advisory shares.
No.
Damon says he doesn't care how they end up structuring the equity, whether it's advisory shares, whatever. What's important to him is that it's non-dilutable. Then Kevin decides to have a Teach America at Home moment, and he lets us know the word for this is preference shares, which is what I will be calling it for the rest of forever now that I know this. And he talks about the different issues it poses for all the other shareholders whose equity will all obviously be diluting over time. Lori says they would take the 4% equity as long as it's a preference share, but ultimately Dr. Adil agrees with Kevin and says that he just can't do preference shares. Lori proposes going back up to 6% and making them common shares, but he says that's still just too much equity.
Then what are we talking about here, Doc?
And this is one of the issues with companies that come in like this, because when you have no room to negotiate, it just makes it frustrating to watch. But Dr. Adil stays firm with his original counter, and Damon says, why not just meet in the middle and do it at 5%? And then Kevin informs us he would also be willing to change his offer by himself to 5%.
No. Also.
And of course, it's immediately pointed out to Kevin that that's not really as competitive of an offer when it's one shark versus two sharks.
2 is better than that one.
Then Kevin, without any real prompting from Dr. Adil to, lower the equity, I don't really know where this came from. Obviously, things are edited out, but from the edit we saw, out of nowhere, Kevin is just kind of like, I would do the deal for 6%. Like, would you guys do it for 6%? I mean, why not 6% for $1 million? Then it's an even number. What? I have never seen that man lower equity without prompting. He obviously wanted in on this. And he ends up making a deal with Kevin, Lori, and Damon for $1 million for 6% equity common shares, not preference shares. Which proves there's at least one thing at 2% that Kevin will get out of bed for. I can't pretend I came up with that joke. I saw it on Reddit. Final thought number one. In the beginning, I talked about how they didn't show us the product very much. When I was on his Instagram looking, I don't even remember how I got there, I saw a picture of him doing some sort of demonstration with Mark, and ABC released the demonstration tapes. I want to see them. Also, to talk a little bit more about the pricing, while the margin, just the number by itself, does seem wild, it also does seem like from the very minimal, just basic scanning I did, that this is one of the more affordable of them that's on the market. These are purely from people's comments I read in different Reddit communities. I couldn't really see the prices of a lot of these things because, like with the ability hand, you need to fill out some forms. There's more to do. It's not just like buying a normal product. But from what I saw, apparently this is one of the more affordable options. If somebody knows better than me, please correct me in the comments. I was struggling during this part to try to figure that out. Also, it having the touch sensors really does seem to set it apart from the other ones. That was very cool to me. And like I said earlier, I spent a lot of time, too much time, looking at different videos about this. I got really interested in this. I think it's a cool product. I really like it. All the videos I watched also will be linked in my resource if you want to go see any of them. But at the end of the day, also, since we're talking about Shark Tank, it's frustrating when these businesses come on. They don't have any room to negotiate, because that doesn't feel like what Shark Tank is. It did get me thinking that it would be interesting to have a show that had more of these businesses that are either just not real yet, like concepts or things like this, where it's bigger than just, a fun investment. Because there's a pitch we're going to get to that is what the heart and soul, I feel like, of Shark Tank is, and this just doesn't feel like it. I'm glad to have learned about it. I think it's really interesting. I think it's really cool. It's something I'm going to follow along with just personally, out of interest. But as a viewer of Shark Tank, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Our second pitch of the night is Dogue. Rami and Alejandra walked into the tank looking for $100,000 for 20% equity in their protein-rich desserts.
Ooh, this is dessert, Lori. I think we will be chowing down.
Here's some of their desserts, and the ingredients include things like pasteurized chicken breast, elk, and antelope heart. You may be thinking, who wants this? And the answer is dogs. It's dog treats. Gotcha. Yeah, that was their little bit for coming in. I thought it was funny, so I stole it too. Mark's reaction to this dog is also just 10 out of 10.
That's a big ass dog.
And is he wrong? He's not wrong. Watch the dog scarf down one of these pastries. It's so funny. I love this dog. He's the star. He's the star of this pitch.
We've always felt our dogs are an extension of our family and celebrate.
And then the guy makes a joke, being kind of like, if you're brave enough, take a taste. And Damon, seeing this dog eat this pastry, goes, yep, bet. And he looks just like that scene from SpongeBob when he's trying the snail food. I couldn't unsee it. And seeing Damon do this, Robert's like, oh, are we actually supposed to try this? And the guy was like, no, I was saying if you're brave enough. And Robert was like, Damon, why are you trying it? And you'd think I was joking about what I said earlier, but no, that was truly his answer to Robert.
It looked good the way he was eating it, man.
They sell out of a retail store in San Francisco that also functions as a dog cafe on Sundays where they serve tasting menus for dogs. They sell these little pastries, and they also sell fresh, prepackaged dog food during the rest of the normal week. For their cost breakdown, first we talk about the 8-ounce prepackaged dog food. It costs them $2 to make, and they sell it for $8. Then they talk about their pastries. They reference a little white one specifically, and that pastry cost them 85 cents to make, and they sell it for $15. Now, I know I was just talking about how when we're watching Shark Tank, we gotta think about it's not like all-encompassing numbers, and they're running a retail store. 85 cents, and it's a $15 dog treat. Absolutely made my brain explode. I thought I had died. I thought what I was watching wasn't real. Anyway, we can't stay on this forever. We'll get to it, back to it in final thoughts. The retail store has been open around a year, and they've just started being able to do about $20,000 a month, which is making them break even. So no, they're not profitable, they're break even. We found out the sales are about almost 50-50 between just the normal dog food and the pastries. $11,000 out of the $20,000 from their last month was the pre-packed dog food. So a little bit more, but I mean, almost half. At this point, the Sharks are like, okay, so we're investing in a retail store. That's the only place you're selling it. And they start to be like, well, what we really want to focus on is the fact that we manufacture dog food, and our goal is to get it into as big of a market as possible. Our complete total end goal is to get our dog pastries shipped across the country.
How are you going to do that?
That's why we're here, guys.
And pretty much that all translates into, we don't know what we're doing, we just know where we want to be. Lori pulls out her favorite line of, it's a great business for you, but not investable for me. She says she doesn't see it as scalable, especially because of the difficulty in shipping frozen goods, and she's out. Then Mark, Kevin, and Damon all pretty much just reiterate what Lori says, talking about the difficulty of getting retail space with refrigerated and frozen goods, and all three of them go out. Last, we have Robert, who points out one of his best and fastest exits was in a pet company. I assume he's talking about Base Paws, which was one of his and Kevin's investments, but I don't know that. That would just be my best guess. He says he really needed them to have come in with a game plan, because at the moment, it just doesn't really seem like they have a clear direction for how they want to grow. And their response to all this is to keep being like, well, we need a strategic partner. That's what we came in for, aka somebody who will plan out our whole business for us. They didn't say that part. I'm saying that part. They started about how they could have just raised money from friends or families.
So what's the plan?
And instead of giving us the action steps for what they're wanting to do, they just keep reiterating, we want to ship it. That's what we want to do. We want to ship it. Done.
Guys, if you came up with an answer, not the perfect answer, any answer, I would have loved to get on.
And in case you're not sure what exactly Robert means by an answer, I think an example would be them coming in saying they want to find a co-packer who could make and ship this for them, and that's what they need the money and help with. I think that would have been an answer that at least Robert would have accepted. Because even like he said, just any answer. It didn't have to be the right answer. But they just kept floundering, and ultimately Robert goes out. And ultimately they end up leaving the tank without a deal. Final thoughts. I'm just going to level with everybody. I am obviously a ridiculous dog person. I have 3 different picture types of my dog just straight up behind me. And yes, there have been plenty of times I've spent too much money on him for no particular reason. But usually these things are toys or treats. And with this thing, part of me wants to be like, yeah, you know what? I could see myself doing this one time. Like one time only, a weird one-off special treat. But with the way the treat is, it honestly feels like it's more for the person than the dog. And they even talk about it. It's for Instagram, it's for posting. And if I'm going to like splurge on my dog like that, I want to make sure it's something that he really, really enjoys. You know, I don't know. That's just me, especially for the food stuff. Now, a costume, he doesn't like those, and I will spend money on them. But when it comes to an item that's supposed to be a treat, like food and that, I want to make sure I'm getting my bang for my buck and that he's really going to enjoy it. And it's not just something that's for me. I don't know. That might be my own personal thing. I'd love to hear other people's comments. Obviously, also, this store is in San Francisco, so it's just like a different breed. I don't know. They've since launched an online store since being on the tank, and they're selling some products. Like they have a couple of their little pastries and whatnot. I didn't see any of the fresh packaged dog food. I don't know if that's because they're not shipping it or if they're sold out. I saw meal toppers and like water that was frozen. So they're shipping some frozen stuff. So, I mean, if you want to check them out, again, always link that stuff down below. And truly, at the end of the day, it's not like it's hurting anybody, but 85 cents and then paying 15 just made me, like, knowing that, I would never do this once. The only scenario that I was talking about earlier where I'd be like, I might do this once for my dog, is if I didn't know it had only costed them 85 cents to make. After finding that out, I need to move on. Our third pitch of the night is Cup a Bug. Justin walked into the tank looking for $50,000 for 10% of his bug catch and release system. This is your warning that there will be video shown that includes real bugs in the product video, so if you want to skip ahead, I'll throw a timestamp up on the screen, because if you don't like bugs, I get it, I feel ya. Here it is. It's got a long handle and swivel head to help get bugs out of anywhere. It's also got a little tab out of the side to help sweep pesky bugs out of corners, and as you can see, you just place the device down on the bug. There's a button on the handle that pushes that bottom part under. Then you can take the bug outside and release it. Easy as that. He retails the product at $40, which includes free shipping, and it cost him $10 to make the product plus $7 to ship, making it $17 total to make it. The year before they filmed, he did a Kickstarter and sold 800 units, which ended up being about $28,000. When he came on, he had been actually selling the product for around 3 months and had sold 12,000 units. With that small of numbers and such little time, we didn't get the answer or question about profitability yet. So when he first started pitching, he kept kind of stumbling and having a hard time. And Lori and Mark were just so sweet. And that's one of the things that always warms my heart on Shark Tank. I feel like they all generally do a good job of like trying to encourage an entrepreneur if they get lost in their speech and all that. And it warms my heart to see.
That's okay, start over.
That's good. You made it more convenient to capture a bug than to kill it.
He studied mechanical engineering in school, and after that, he went to work for his dad, where they built electric motors, and he eventually decided that he wanted to follow in his dad's footsteps of being an entrepreneur. So he spent late nights teaching himself more engineering until he had the skills to be able to produce the product that they have in front of them today.
My courseware.
My hero.
I know you guys are.
And of course, he talks about how the inspiration for the product is, number one, he's scared of bugs, and then number two, he feels really bad about killing him, which gives us this fantastic Mark response.
I feel bad when I squish a bug too. That could be an ancestor of mine for all I know. Coming to
Probably is.
Mark wants to know what else Justin has designed. He tells us he's done board game pieces, planters, desk organizers. He says he's done anything that kind of falls under that nerdy umbrella, and this kid is just speaking Mark's language. They are having a vibe connection. It's like no one else is in that room, honestly. And this entire time, while he's been pitching all of that, there's these little boxes that have been in front of the sharks and that have gone unexplained. When they first come in and he starts pitching, he has them unveil this box with a cloth. But the main thing they show us is the fact that he put little fake bugs all around the box, and then it's not addressed again. Until finally, Lori's like, "What up?"
What is this?
And Justin goes, "That's a bug catapult." And they're all like, "Oh my gosh, that's so fun. Are you selling it?" And he's like, "No, I just designed it for all of y'all." And at this point, Mark is all in. And he wants to confirm with Justin that this isn't just for Cup a Bug. This is for Justin's future endeavors that are to come, because he is obviously a kid who's going to keep on inventing cool stuff like this. And Justin confirms that is the case. He wants somebody to join in his entrepreneurial journey. So Mark offers him the $50,000 for 20%. But wait, Mark's got competition, because Damon says he'll match that offer.
No, he's not going to do it. Just me.
And then Damon attempts to team up with Mark. He's like, we could do $60,000 for 30%. But Mark is not having it. This is Mark's deal. Justin counters, asking if either of them would consider going up in the amount of money since they raised the equity, and Mark says he'll do $75,000 for 20%, and...
Geek to geek.
Geek to geek. All right, Mark, join me in my entrepreneurial journey.
Let's go!
Yeah, earlier in this video when I was talking about there's a product that I just feel like is the heart of Shark Tank, it was this one. Pitches like this are what make me love the show. Just a fun, simple product, good idea, came in asking a normal, reasonable amount. it was heart. It was great. I just felt so warm and fuzzy watching it the whole time, and I personally can't wait to see what Justin invents in the future, and I want a cup of bug. Currently, it is on pre-order. I think they said it was shipping in like May or March. One of those M months coming up. I don't remember. If I do end up getting one, rest assured, I will come back and report to y'all. One of the main things I saw against the product were people saying, oh, I'll have to go get this when I want to deal with a bug. And I don't know about those people, but I, no matter what, have to go get something when I'm about to deal with a bug, no matter what I'm going to do, because I'm not taking it on with my bare hands. Like, if I am going to squish it, I have to find a shoe. I also have to find a shoe that I don't mind I'm squishing a bug with. I have to find a newspaper, maybe, depending on the size. Like, I have to go find something. So I didn't really quite get that argument. It almost feels like this would be the easier thing, especially if you are the person to save bugs, having to go get a cup and all that. I don't know. I didn't really get that argument. I'm like, are you like grabbing them or squishing them? Like, you gotta grab something. I don't know. Overall, though, I personally think it's a great idea. Favorite pitch so far this season, maybe. It's a top contender more than anything. And like I already said, I just can't wait to see what he does in the future. And I hope Mark is able to continue to fund all his cool ideas like this, because I feel like he's got a lot. Our fourth pitch of the night is Coldest. David and Joe walked into the tank looking for $600,000 for 2% equity in their products that help you stay cold. Here it is. So their main product is water bottles in these different styles. They have a little rubber bottom and they're leak proof, but water bottles isn't the only thing they sell. They also sell sheets, pillows, even dog beds and bowls, anything you need to stay cold. The product we use for the price breakdown is their Limitless water bottle. It's a cup that kind of looks like the Stanley Cup, for lack of a better comparison right now, sorry. And it comes with 3 different types of lids, a shaker, a normal straw, and then a sports type lid. And they said in the tank it retailed for $55.99. I don't know if they just slipped or got confused or if they changed it, but it's just flat $55 on their website, and it costs them between $10 to $12 to make. Usually I talk about the sales and profitability next. I feel like it's so integral to the whole telling of how the pitch went that I'm just going to let it unfold, because I could just give you the sales ramp, but I just feel like the story's better this way. So David started the business himself in 2017. He tells us the story of how he placed an order at this factory for 1,000 units, and he tried to call and cancel it because he started having doubts in himself, but it was too late. And then he just jumps to, and 2 years later, we're at $900,000.
Okay, so what happened with the $1,000?
Yeah, you just casually threw that out there.
And David's like, don't worry, we're about to get into the numbers. And it's like, my guy, no, we're already in the numbers. Just tell us what happens. And finally, after pulling teeth, he's finally like, we sold all of them.
You're horrible pitchers. In what period of time did that sell out?
He finally tells us it took them about 5 months, and they were only selling it on Amazon. Then in 2018, the twins decided to partner up. David works on all the product design, while Joe does the marketing. They said after a year of working together, they made $1 to $3 million. This is obviously very vague, so Kevin forces them to give us a year-by-year breakdown of sales. And here's our beautiful sales ramp. In 2017, he did $900,000. In 2018, they did $2.5 million. 2019, $5.9 million. 2020, $9.3 million. 2021, $12.4 million. 2022, $15.1 million. And on 2023, they said they were on track to do $22 million.
Gotta ask, why are you here?
What were your profits last
Are
year?
you making any money on it?
And of course, the answer to that is no. We couldn't have 2 different products come in asking for 2% equity and they both be profitable. That's just, I don't think that is mathematically possible. In 2022, when they did $15.1 million, they were negative $400,000. Obviously, the sharks want to know, why are you losing money? And they say their biggest problem is the inventory is just flying off the shelves and they're having to spend a bunch of money restocking and adding different colors and SKUs and categories. Damon then asks them how much the inventory they currently have is worth, and they say $2.5 million. That's their cost, not retail. And that inventory consists of 350 different SKUs. And Mark will hunt down money. So he starts getting in the nitty-gritty, asking them of the inventory, how much of it is product that hasn't been sold in over a year or product that they just don't think will move. And they say all their products move. It just depends on when they want to discount it so that they break even. Which, no, that's not the answer. That's not the right answer to that, in case anybody's wondering. Robert then asks the vital question of, why is your company worth $30 million when you're currently losing money? And the brothers point out that they're valuing it based off the immense amount of growth they have, and I will give it to them, that growth is incredible.
But the problem is you're not making money.
Lori says she doesn't really like their business model, where they always feel like they need to add more and more and more at the cost of their own profits, and because of that, she's out. But no, we have not forgotten that we are on the hunt for money. So the next question is, how much do you spend on advertising? And the answer to that is a lot. Last year, they spent $3.3 million on advertising. Mark points out that at the end of the day, this is really a marketing company, and to be a good marketing company, you have to have science and strategy behind it, and he just doesn't see that from them, so he's out. Robert says that what they've done in terms of sales is incredible, but he just still doesn't understand how they're losing money, and goes out with a dad joke.
It was definitely cold. It wasn't very hot. I'm out.
Damon talks about that having that much inventory will ultimately be detrimental to the business. He says they're going down a very dangerous road that he doesn't want to join them on, and he goes out. They see sharks dropping, so they throw out that they'd be willing to go from their 2% to 10%. They were ready. That jump, they were just like, 10%? Please? In the end, though, I do kind of respect it. I find it funny, but I respect it. I wonder if that was their top. I wonder if that was the limit on what they agreed on, and they just threw that out. First sign of trouble, life vest. Then it's Kevin's time to chime in, once again just being so classically Kevin.
I thought your presentation absolutely sucked until I heard the sales.
Kevin thinks with the business the way that it is, the only way he'll ever be able to get his money back is by doing one of his famous royalty deals. So he offers them $600,000 for 7% with a royalty of $2.25 until he's paid back $3 million, then it goes away.
We're not super interested into a royalty deal, but what we would be interested.
Well, you should get super interested because it's the only offer you have right now.
The entrepreneurs counter Kevin with, instead of a royalty, a guaranteed payback of $900,000 in 3 to 5 years.
Oh,
whatever
that's
you
so
guys agree.
uninteresting. Oh, I fell asleep on that one.
Then Kevin starts doing this like watch bit. I don't know what else to call it. I'm pretty sure he has also already done this at one point in the season, but pretty much he's saying that he could invest in their company, but from what they're offering, how many watches is that really going to get him? When instead, he could just take his money today and buy himself one nice watch and not invest in their company.
Like, you have to think in terms of how many watches can I get out of your deal? That's what I'm thinking about.
Then we have Robert swooping in with a classic dig at Kevin.
But think of the
builders.
opportunity here for your brand. He has the coldest heart of any human being.
Kevin isn't budging on the royalty aspect, but he says he will lower the equity to 5%. The entrepreneurs try one final counter. This time it's $1.5 million for 5% equity, with an option for Kevin around the 3-year mark to sell back his equity to them for 1.5 times his investment.
I'm falling asleep again.
Ultimately, they feel like a royalty deal isn't what's best for their company, and they turn down Kevin's offer and leave the tank without a deal. So, final thoughts. This is my water bottle, so...
Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
When I saw them in the preview, I cannot tell you the confusion I had. When I just, like, my brain couldn't process it. I've had this water bottle a little over a year now, and I just never thought it would be a company that would end up on Shark Tank. First, I'll just give my final thoughts about, like, the pitch itself, and then I'll actually talk about my water bottle. So, as for the business itself, number one, another person coming in with 2% equity. It does seem like they had some room to budge on that, but at $600,000 for 2% equity, their sales were wild, but also the losing money. This pitch was also such a mess. Trying to format this in a way that made sense to retell this was incredibly difficult. So I hope it flowed well and made sense, because it didn't watching it. That's why we have the clip of Kevin being like, y'all are horrible at pitching. It was a nightmare to watch. I was sitting there with my water bottle like, So to start, I bought this water bottle in August of 2022. It was $39.99. I had a YouTuber discount code that got me $4 off. The shipping was $8.99, so in total I paid $44.98 for this. The reason I got it is because I had been using a pretty nice like camping water bottle. I don't even know what brand it was. I'd gotten it from Target. It was like $25 or so. I had it for a couple of years, and the lid was starting to break, so it was starting to leak, and it was time for me to get a new water bottle. And at that time, a bunch of the YouTubers that I watched were sponsored by this brand, and it was just good timing. I was like, oh, well, I'll use their discount code, support somebody I like watching, get a new water bottle. Also, when I went on their website, I saw this design that I was super into, and I wanted this style of lid, the sports style lid with the little straw, because I prefer that over like the Yeti or other type cup style. And I also wanted it to be pretty big because I need water with me a lot. So it was what I needed at the time. It all just kind of aligned, and that's how I ended up with this water bottle. As far as the coldest part goes, I'm not really somebody who usually cares about cold water, except in like the dead of summer. Then I have to have ice water or I'll die. And with this one, a lot of the times, I would even just put refrigerated water into it, and it would stay cold in my car forever. It was awesome. So I will give it that. It is good at staying cold. Some pros I like about it. Like I said, I like this style of lid. I feel like it's really easy to clean. Again, love the pattern. It's usually leak proof. When it leaks, I'm pretty sure it's just me overfilling the water bottle and it gets caught up and then it's leaking, because I've never had it like, it's empty right now, I just realized, but I haven't really had it just like randomly leak, if you know what I mean. It's always right after I filled it, so I think that's a me thing, not a this water bottle thing. I also like that I feel like it's pretty durable. I mean, it does have its little scrapes and some dents in it, but I am the kind of person who destroys things, so how this looks currently, considering I use it every day, is remarkable to me. It is in great shape. Also, mine doesn't have that rubber piece they were talking about earlier. I think that's a new design thing, so I didn't like rip it off or anything. It was just a metal bottom. So, you know, little dents, but overall, I mean, she's not leaking. She's doing good. She's good. I think my biggest con is that it doesn't fit into my cup holder, but I knew that when I bought it. It wasn't like I got it and was surprised about it, but it is a huge con. If the Limitless bottle had been around when I was buying a water bottle, I would own that one currently. I love the fact that it has the different lids you can swap out, because I would like to have like a normal cup straw moment. I just prefer this. Also like the handle and that it fits in your car. I'm honestly like, I don't need another water bottle. I need to stop talking. I have one. That's all I need. I just need one. I'm saying this to myself. I just need to hear this myself. As for the price and if it's worth it, these things are still the same price on their website, so I'm just going to speak for this. Ultimately, for me, it was worth it. I didn't have to look around for a water bottle for a long time. I got to support a YouTuber I liked. I have a lot of things that I like about it, and as long as it keeps holding up for years to come, I'm gonna keep liking it. I think it was worth it, but like I've said a bunch before, worth is relative, so it's just kind of up to you about, you know, how much you use a reusable water bottle, how much you need it. So, but for me, I'm happy with it at the end of the day. And that, my friends, is a wrap on Shark Tank Season 15, Episode 15. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Speaking of subscribing, I just want to take a little tiny moment to celebrate a little milestone, which is I recently reached 100 subscribers on here, and I know to pretty much everybody else in the world that means nothing and nobody cares, but it really means a lot to me. I've gotten so many nice comments in the time that I've been doing these reality TV, Shark Tank, all these videos, and all of them mean so much to me, and thank y'all for watching. It makes my day. I like doing this. And as always, if you've seen any of these products, tried any of these products, want to try these products now, let me know all that and more in the comments. And until then, I'll see y'all in the next one.